Aloha, I'm Dr. Val, Kauai Psychologist,
And I'm Dr. Mark, Doctor of Agronomy or Plant Science.
and today's topic is honoring and remembering mothers. It's healthy to remember those people in our life who have been significant and who have impacted our lives. And mothers, whether you have someone who actually was your mother who raised you, or whether you have other people who mothered you, those women in your life are very important to remember. There's two significant reasons for that. One is that it helps us to identify with who we are because they poured their lives into us. They raised us, they set values for us, so they actually have become a part of who we are. And secondly, it does help to process grief for those of us who have lost our mothers. We want to process grief so it doesn't get stuck, so that the positive memories can then re-emerge.
So, one of the ways that I remember my mother, who passed away in 2018, is in her latter years when we would talk about God, she would always say, I make plans and God just laughs. And I always remember that because it would talk about God, it gives the opportunity to talk about God, but also in a humorous way. Another way I remember her is this one picture in her latter years, and she had many pictures of her in her early years and throughout the years that were all beautiful. And this is a beautiful one too, but this is one of my favorites because this is a picture of her in one of the last homes that she lived in with some flowers that were given to her on her birthday. And she just loved flowers and loved her home, and she was very happy there. And I just remember that as being a wonderful time in her life. Another thing that reminds me of my mother are my brothers and sisters. My mom had 9 children. She had 8 births. Her last one were twins. And so whenever I think of my brothers and sisters, certainly I think of my mom and how she raised all of us. And, she raised us with the help of my dad, who did a lot of the work and provided the finances. And some of my sisters helped raise me. But the final image that I conjure up when I want to think about my mom is the house that she raised all of us in, that we were raised in, and it was a wonderful home, beautiful home. So whenever I see a picture of it or drive by it, I remember my mom and how she loved that house.
Very nice. Well, here's a picture. This is my favorite picture of my mom, and you can see that she's holding a baby. That baby is me, born in 1958, so that's Mama in 1958. Just absolutely gorgeous woman. And you can see the joy on her face from holding her firstborn baby. And that tells you a lot about my mama. She always wanted to be a mom. That was her greatest ambition in life. And it was verified by my grandma, who said Mama used to take one of those little strollers and have a little baby doll in there and push it around, and then she would mother that baby doll. So Mama really did succeed in her life's dream, and that was honestly to be a mom. Uh, the picture is also very important to me because I believe that God gave this picture to me as a representation of how my mom looks now. And I remember spending the final month of her life with her in Oregon when she passed away, and we had the funeral, and then we returned to Kauai. I was praying, and I walked down the hallway, and I had this picture in a frame, and God directed my eyes to this picture and said, that's who she is now. She's with me. No need to fear. She's with me. So that's why this picture is so very special to me. The other thing that I did to remember my mom is I picked out a representation, and here's a little heart, and it just says, I love you. And the reason that this really does represent my mom is my mother was so very compassionate and loving, and even when she was on her deathbed, she rendered up enough strength to sit up in bed, and she stretched out her arms sort of to show everybody that she wanted to include them, and she said, I love you all. And then she laid back down, and shortly after that evening, she passed away. So I treasure memories of my mom, and I appreciate this opportunity to share them with you.
So these are some ways that we can honor and remember our mothers, and they're not the only ways. And you can come up with your own ways of doing that. Some other ways that Val and I remember is sometimes we'll light a candle to remember. Certainly when we go for a walk and we talk about our moms and times that we had with them, going to games or dinners or holidays. Those are just some other ways. Or even maybe you have some cards from your mothers from times past. Those are just some other ways. And you can come up with many other ways that you can remember your mothers.
Even in this season of life, the COVID-19 days, you can remember your mothers, honoring and remembering your mothers. We love you guys, and we treasure this time to share our mothers with you. Bless you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.